Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is my first podcast and YouTube video. I want to talk today a little bit about my keto journey and the top three things that have worked for me and the top three things that didn't. I've had some successes and I've had some, I wouldn't say epic failures, but I've actually had some failures because of things I did not know and later learned on. First, let me say that my journey on keto was about being healthy. It wasn't about the weight, even though the weight was a concern of mine, and I knew I needed to make some changes in my life. Last May, I was about 298 pounds, and I'm glad to say right now I'm about 258, just weighed this morning. And so it's been a journey, but some of the holiday period actually set me back a little bit. So definitely it's something that is a journey, as I keep on saying. One of the biggest things that I ran into when I first started and not really understanding how important it was is not having enough keto vegetables in your life. A lot of what I was doing was listening to the things that my body desired, which were a lot of the sweets that had been taken out of my life. I'd been a very big sweet person, and it was hard getting rid of some of the breads and some of the ice creams and things like that that I had grown up with and gotten used to. So the veggies were a very big part of that. And I'm talking about things like your spinach, your lettuce, celery, mushrooms, cauliflower, cucumbers, green beans, avocados. And it really does make a difference as far as going through and implementing those along with the rest of the things that you need in your keto diet. So that was one of the negatives on my side, is that I was not doing enough of the keto vegetables. Number two, I would say, is counting net carbs. Not until recently did I understand about the necessity of looking at total carbs as a package rather than the net carbs. And one of the doctors I follow, Dr. Ken Berry from down in the Nashville, Tennessee area, that's one of the things that I went back and rewatched some of his videos. And he basically had talked about how they play a game out there with the net carbs and how they are able to manipulate, for lack of a better word, some of the values and such. So when you can, go total carbs. I have posted some things out there, even yesterday, some of the breakfast foods that I had put out about the net carbs. But total carbs really is the way to go if you're really serious about it and you want to see a very effective change. Another thing that I did not understand completely was the dehydration and the electrolytes, because the lower the carbs you do, then the more dehydrated you are. So you really need to step up, and we're talking about avoiding that keto flu that you hear about. It's really the headaches and the body aches and it just feeling miserable. But normally most of that comes from the dehydration. The magnesium, the calcium, the sodium, and the potassium that you need. And so I encourage you to take a look at those and really concentrate on what is best for you. Everybody is different. Keto is different for everybody. Everybody reacts differently. And you will find as you go along your journey things that work and do not work, just as I did. The other side of that, the positive things that came off of keto for me, the number one thing that worked for me was counting macros. I am a very detail-oriented person. I'm a very list person. So being able to have an app on my phone that I could actually, when I ate at that moment, go through and plug in all the different type of macros from the food that I ate or recipes that I've made. Carb Manager is the app that I use. There's a free version, and then you could upgrade if you need to the more professional version, I guess you could call that, with a lot more recipes. And I did get a lot of my new recipes. As I said, I had a setback around the holidays. It lasted through probably, I'd say, early January after the first of the year. But now able to go back and kind of revisit some of those things that I was not doing completely correctly in my view. And again, there's so many different types of views out there. So again, it's about you and your body and how it affects you. Another one of the things that I think really has worked for myself is looking for the quality foods. Yes, you can do keto and not get the grass-fed beef, not get the organic vegetables, not get the organic eggs, and it still can work. But of course, you have different health issues because of different things and benefits, I should say, not necessarily issues, but you have different health benefits that come from doing the organic and the grass-fed meat. Same goes for seafood, if it's farm raised or if it's fresh caught, fresh frozen. So those are a couple things that actually will help you. Nuts are another one. At the time that I started this, nearly a year ago, I was dealing with some gut problems. And so seeds and nuts were kind of out for me. But then as I progressed along, I introduced some of that and found out that it really wasn't as big of an issue as I thought it was going to be. And so now I've been able to implement the pecans and walnuts and things of that nature that are good oils that you need for going into a keto diet. And then the other thing that really was a positive for me is that going on keto diet, it actually educated me a little bit more about intermittent fasting and 1 meal a day type of programs. And there is a lot to learn of it, so do your research for sure. But I know that intermittent fasting for me is just an extension of going to the breakfast time. Breakfast being break fast, so when you go to sleep, you're having a fast all night long until you get up and eat in the morning. Well, I just extend that till about noon, 1 o'clock, which we're getting around that period right now. And for myself, most of the time, I could go down to just 1 meal a day, making sure that you have your correct calorie count, that your macros are in place, and being able to adjust for your lifestyle. So that's the most important thing, is that it is tailored to you and what you make it. My wife Patty and I, we've been trying different things, and what works for me sometimes does not work for her. What works for her sometimes does not work for me. So it is, again, a situation that is good for you to sit down together and figure out what your path is. There's a lot of things you could share. I do prepping once, maybe twice a week, and we go through and we figure out what meats we want to do, what seafood we want to do, if there's poultry, what type of vegetables we could prepare ahead of time. Because just like any other type of lifestyle, when you're eating, it's about not being in that crunch and starting to snack or have that urge, that compulsive urge that you need, and not seeing something, and so you reach for something that maybe is not so great for you. So I will add some links down here at the bottom of this page of some of the doctors that I routinely take a look at and get a lot of information from. Dr. Ken Berry, I mentioned already, from the Nashville area. Dr. Eric Berg is another excellent source that has a lot of nutritional information. Goes really deep into the science, as does Dr. Berry. And then Dr. Jason Fung is another that has a lot of great information about intermittent fasting. So I encourage you to take a look at those, take a look at the links below, go ahead and hit subscribe down at the bottom of the page, and I look forward to having more videos of basically the journey through the keto, RV, and also our travels across the country. Thank you for tuning in. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.